Good morning, Rotary Club of Centennial. It's been a few weeks, hasn't it? Welcome. So happy to see all of you. And wow, what a room full of people we have. It's awesome. So we have our pledge, Tim Eunice? Right here. Pledge? Pledge?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Inspiration. Great. Do you have that for us?
I do. I have a invocation, and as we all know, the Thanksgiving holiday is coming up, and I thought that it might be nice as a prelude to that holiday. It might be appropriate to review a short history of the Pilgrims' landing here in the New World. So if you'll indulge me for a minute here. It was in September of 1620, a small ship called the Mayflower left Plymouth, England, carrying 102 passengers, some of them seeking a place where they could freely practice their faith, and others who were lured by the promise of prosperity and land ownership. After a treacherous and courageous crossing that lasted 66 days, they dropped anchor near the tip of Cape Cod and eventually crossed Massachusetts Bay, where the Mayflower passengers finally set foot on land in the New World. Tradition and history have marked that landing to be on a particular site that became known as Plymouth Rock. Although the first comers, as they were called, may not have been certain of the exact place that they first placed their feet on the ground, it was generally accepted by them that Plymouth Rock did in fact mark the spot, and so was fondly remembered by those in the colony. However, 121 years later, in 1741, plans were made to build a wharf along the shoreline that included Plymouth Rock. Thomas Founts, a 95-year-old elder of the Plymouth Church and son of a first comer, was most distressed at the possibility of covering up this beloved landmark, and publicly confirmed that his father had identified the rock as the site of the first landing where they first landed in the New World. And in deference to his appeal, the wharf was built, but without covering the rock. At the beginning of the Revolutionary War, however, in 1775, the Forefathers Rock, as it was known back then, became a very valued symbol during that period of our struggle for liberty. So it was decided to move the rock from the wharf to the town square. A yoke of oxen attempted to lift the rock from its bed at the water's edge, but it broke in two along an unknown stress line. So the upper half of the rock was taken to the town square, and the lower half remained embedded in the waterfront. Then 60 years later, in 1834, the upper half was moved again to the town square, from the town square to the Pilgrim Hall Museum there in town, where it was enclosed with an iron fence. And then finally in 1880, the Pilgrim Society ended up buying the waterfront wharf where the lower half of Plymouth Rock had remained embedded, and rejoined the upper half to the lower half. And that is when they engraved that rock with the date of 1620. And they covered it with an Italian-style columned canopy, where it remains today. And it has become, obviously, one of the most widely known historical landmarks in the United States. So this bit of history, along with the early struggles that these pilgrims endured, ties into our country's unique holiday celebration of Thanksgiving, a special time to give thanks for the blessings of divine providence that eventually brought to the history of the world a new birth of freedom and a government of the people, by the people, and for the people, the United States of America. And to that I say amen.
Thank you, Greg. Sounds like it was a lot like my life gluing back together. So if you please have a seat. Karen Fleck, do you have our Rotary Minute today?
I wanted to help us celebrate the announcements that we heard yesterday from Rotary. So, closer to my mouth. Can you hear me? Okay, I'll do that. Okay, so in celebration or in recognition of the events of yesterday, take us back a second. Once the wild polio virus type 2 was eradicated in 2015, a bivalent form of the oral vaccine began to be used. This bivalent form conferred immunity for two diseases, the type 1 virus and the type 3 virus. As we learned yesterday in the District 5450 newsletter, now the type 3 virus has also been eradicated, which is phenomenal news. In addition to that, Africa is set to be declared polio-free, which is a huge milestone when you consider that in the year 2000, there were 20,000 new cases of polio in Nigeria every year. Now Nigeria is 3 years polio-free. Great. Glad to be a part of that and the role that we play in that.
Thank you, Karen. So I want to thank everyone that came early to set up and help with greeting. We have Randy Ernst, thank you so much, and Mary Alice Jackson. I know you were a greeter. Thank you so much for helping out there. I know, Paul, you are taking down wherever you are. I think behind me. Oh, he's hiding. Paul, thank you for staying late. Inspiration, Greg, thank you so much for that. And Tim, thank you for remembering the words to the pledge. That was awesome. It's always good. Do we have any visiting Rotarians today? Just Brad. Okay, well, Brad, welcome. I'm sure you've been a busy new dad, so we see that you're wide awake. I'm sure you'll want to sleep as soon as you get home. Thank you for coming. And we have a few guests. We will introduce the Student of the Month and their family shortly, so hold on there. We do have a guest that Lori Overton brought, Marty Burns, is that correct? Lori, do you want to introduce your guest?
Hi, good morning. This is my guest, Marty. I'm going to allow him actually to introduce himself.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for having me here. What a great breakfast. My name's Marty Burns. I'm an insurance broker with Smith & Company, Colorado. I don't know what else you might need to know. If you want to ask me any questions, I'll be around after the meeting. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Marty. And then we have another guest here who just kind of showed up. Angela?
She got us off of Google.
Oh, Google. Well, hello, Google. I think it's actually okay, Google, and then my phone perks up and tries to be Siri, and it doesn't work very well. But
Oh my God. Hey, my name is Angela. I'm not from school. Somebody said I'm from school. I'm not. I'm old enough, trust me. I'm just trying. I'm real estate agent. So, and I'm looking for to get involved with the community. And I moved to Denver not a long time ago. So I don't really know a lot about Denver. So hopefully somebody can help me and show me. Does it work? Everything. There you go. Thank you.
Perfect.
there's a lot of people who will. We're good to know here. So welcome. Thank you for coming. Thank you for Googling. I've never thought I'd say that before. So, and I lost my notes, so hold on just a minute while I find them. All right, so we are celebrating some birthdays. Since we weren't here last week, I want to celebrate Charlie's birthday. Now, granted, this is all based on the fact that everything is entered correctly into Club Runner. So that is my disclaimer in case anything is wrong. So Charlie had a birthday yesterday, is that correct?
Yes.
Happy birthday. So wish Charlie a happy birthday. We do have a birthday tomorrow, John Wexler, who, just so you guys know, I have yet to talk to him directly, but I have heard that he has decided to stop coming to the club. So just so you guys know, there is a card going around for him to thank him for his time here, as well as Dave Welcher. So if you want to sign it, say thank you. We really have always appreciated both of them. So, but John's birthday's tomorrow, so you can even write, hey, hope you have a happy birthday in that card. Now, I know we have this other John over here.
A lot of Johns over.
I know. Mr. Barry, your birthday is on the 7th, is that correct?
Correct.
So, wish him a happy birthday as well. And then we have Lori Overton. Her birthday is on the 8th. So we've got a lot of birthdays this week.
Wow.
It's on the 7th, okay, well.
No. The anniversary was on the 2nd as well, 28 years.
Oh,
Hey, sounds like a
well, that's a little later in our program, but okay. We will celebrate that as well. And then we have some spouse birthdays. We have John Holtzman's wife, Sarita, on November 9th. Jay Zhang's wife, Jin Wang, on November 10th. And that's it for the spouse's birthday. So if you know either of them, please reach out and say hello and happy birthday. Wedding anniversaries. So Lori and Mike. So congratulations to them. I think it actually said 39 years in ours. You said it's 20, 28? Okay. Feels like 39. All right. And then, of course, since it's the first meeting in the month, we have our Rotary anniversaries. So let's see how many of these are correct. Andy O'Seeley has been in for 2 years. Sandra Abeyta, 11 years. John McCarty, 12 years. And Diane Zing, 12 years.
13. That's okay.
All right, well, they're getting closer.
They're getting closer.
They're getting closer.
Last year I was here for 7 years.
Yeah, see? We're just adding a couple years every time.
Do you want the accelerated program?
It's accelerated progress. All right, so now we're getting to some club business and updates. We're going to go ahead and celebrate our Student of the Month first. So John, would you like to come up, introduce our Student of the Month?
I also feel like a visiting Rotarian. I decided just to show up as Student of the Month from now on.
Well, excellent. If I can have Olivia and her family come up here, please, and Alex. Just be right over here. So this is the last year, and I think previously for a few years, we had Carmen, who is one of the counselors at Arapahoe, and now we have Alex Spare, who's our representative at Arapahoe. So we've been working to get the Student of the Month up and running again, which has been great. And so it's my pleasure today to introduce Olivia Janicek and Janicek. Sorry, I spent years in Poland. I can't say. It's hard for me to say that. Janicek as our Student of the Month. And I will let, in this situation, sometimes I have some words to say, but in this case, I know that Alex has worked with Olivia for quite a few years, so I will let him say a few words and then always have Olivia. And then with Olivia today is her father, Jim, and her mother, Kristen. Got all that right. Excellent. With that, I'll leave it to you, Alex.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, John. And I'd just like to thank the Rotary Club for hosting us, inviting us this morning. I was just thinking back, my family's from upstate New York, and I come from this group of people who were involved in Rotary. So I think my last Rotary meeting, I was about 10 years old in Canandaigua, watching my uncle give some sort of a talk about something. So it's bringing back some memories, but not about me. We're here for Olivia. So I want to talk about, okay, thanks. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I appreciate that. So I first met Olivia last fall in my AP English class. My first memory is bonding with her over the 80s band Toto. I don't know if you remember that. I figured that out some play with this crowd. Anyway, and I found her from that moment on to be the best kind of goofy and quirky, but also really driven, serious student. And those are, if anybody has ever spent time teaching here, those are the most fun students to work with by far. And Olivia has really high standards for herself. She's a combination of really creative, but also task-oriented, detail-oriented. And so as a student, definitely a pleasure to work with. I think more importantly, though, and this, pardon me, just give me 1 second. Olivia is really, her main interests are filmmaking and communications, as we were talking about over at the table here this morning. And I think one thing I've been most impressed with is Olivia's willingness to use her talents, most recently to help other people. And I think especially to turn some of her own struggles into strengths by saying them publicly, whether she's working in journalism at our school or working on public service announcements for television, or even just like scooping ice cream, which is her other job, which she does to make a little bit of money. That's what most impresses me, is not just a talented, driven person, but out to help other people. So just very deserving of this award, and I'm proud of you. Congratulations.
Thank you, Alex.
I just want to say thank you, first of all, to Mr. Spare. He was such a help in AP Lang and onward and still now, and he's always coaching me in school and just in life. And I want to say thank you to you guys, too. It's not always that hard work gets recognized, and obviously I don't do hard work to get recognized, but it's definitely a nice sentiment to, feel like, oh my gosh, what I'm doing is being noticed. And, I'm not just making a difference in community. People are seeing me do that, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is like a real thing. So thank you so much.
All right, well, thank you, folks. Let's get a photo.
Photo up. Photo up.
Membership.
Stand in front.
Everybody in that.
So, and I think we're going to be recruiting her for part of our PR and image committee. Just letting everyone know. Congratulations. Now we have some announcements. Mark Garfield, do you have an announcement on Puerto Rico?
Yes. In regards to Puerto Rico, we are having another Puerto Rico event, this time in our very backyard. It'll take place at Tim Eunice's award-winning sign shop, to go with his award-winning chili. Anyway, it is the 16th of November. That's not this Saturday, but the following Saturday. It'll be at 1 o'clock. It's going to be pretty easy. We're going to just be doing drilling and putting stickers on. We're going to do 120 filters. Then we're going to put it back on the pallet rack, send it to Puerto Rico, and they are going to do the rest. So it'll be nice and easy, and everyone here will have an opportunity now to participate in Puerto Rico without having to fly to Puerto Rico.
Can you tell us the time again?
It's 1 o'clock. We'd love to have you. Love to have you. 1 o'clock on Saturday, the 16th of November. Question?
Do you want the address?
Yes.
6675 South Kenton, Kenton Street. And that's Suite 114, Centennial, 80111.
Okay. Any other questions?
Or you can Google the visual edge signs, and it'll give you a map.
It's on the calendar, John Peterson says. Thank you very much. I hope to see you guys. What's that? I would say it's going to be from 1 to 4, maybe? 1 to 4 or 5. If you want to just come for some of that time, that's fine too. But we'd love to have you guys. We'll put everyone to work, I promise.
There will be some refreshments there, but the beer will not come out until after we're done.
Good thinking. Good thinking.
Great opportunity for teenagers.
John, you have an announcement about CASA Thanksgiving?
Good morning, everybody. Morning. Morning. Hi. Hi there. I've been working with Andrea Tagto on the CASA lunch that's coming up on the 9th, this coming Saturday. And you guys have done a great job of filling in most of the needs for the lunch and food. There is a few slots left, so I'm going to pass around a sheet. And when the meeting's over, I'll add them to the website sign up so we get a complete meal for everybody. So it's coming up this Saturday from 12 to 2 o'clock, and the food will need to be either brought over there directly, or you can meet Andrea here Saturday at 11 o'clock to give her the food that you've prepared. So I'm going to send around a sign-up sheet. Please fill it in. She added a new one. She needs a few helpers to come early to help set up. So that's also on the bottom of the list. So anyway, you guys done a great job so far. Let's finish it up and get it all done. Thanks.
Great, thank you, John. This is something we've done every year since I've been here. It's something I really enjoy. I haven't been a server yet, but I've heard a lot of great things. I have family coming in, and it's my grandmother's 100th birthday, so I can't miss that. But I will be preparing food, so if anyone has the ability to at least prepare food, please do. I know they really count on us. And Andrea always is very grateful for everyone who participates, so thank you for everyone. Diana, do you want to go ahead and do your announcements?
Well, good morning, everyone. Good morning. So my purpose here today is to introduce everyone to the slate of officers, the nominees for the 2020-2021 Board of Directors. Let me start by saying that this is probably one of the most challenging roles of the president-elect. It's a balancing act. We need to honor the past, but we also need to look forward to the future. So in consultation with 3 past presidents, I want to introduce to you the nominees that I have selected, that I'm putting forth, and I believe will be voted on next
First week of December.
First week of December. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to start with our Satellite Club member, who unfortunately is not here. You all know her, that's Andrea Tagto. Moving forward, we have an at-large member. I would like to ask David Livingston to step forward, please. Come on, you can't be shy. You cannot be shy. Okay, David Livingston is our at-large nominee. For public image, I would like to ask Mark Garfinkel. Where are you, Mark? Step forward. Beautiful. For our service projects member, I'd like to ask Diane Zing to step forward. For our membership representative, I'd like to ask John Bellum to please step forward. You know I'm talking about you. Come on, get up here.
No side conversations.
Okay, for our Sergeant at Arms, I'd like to ask Doug Hanna to step forward. Doug, where are you? Beautiful. Come on, Doug. Treasurer, I'd like for you all to guess who our treasurer is. Come on up here, Barb.
She's never here.
Nope.
Everything's automated. That's why it's good for her.
For our secretary, I would like to ask Cheryl Mabry to step forward, please. For our past president, take a guess.
Step over here. I'll step over right now if you want.
And drum roll, please, for our president-elect, Trip Butler. Where are you? I would like to end just by saying that these members here represent 85 years of Rotary passion and commitment. 85 plus. It's okay. So these are the nominees that will be coming forth at the club.
Oh, we're doing a picture.
Act like we know each other. Act like we like
and
each other.
Details.
All right.
Thank you, Diana. I know that has been, having been there myself, a very difficult decision, and everyone is so qualified to be on the board. So thank you, Diana, for your heartfelt time in deciding. We definitely appreciate it, and we look forward to next year. But until then, we still have 7 months. So as much as I like sliding aside, we still have a lot to do this year, and I'm still excited. So let's start with celebrating our food drive that we had this Saturday. Karen, you want to talk about that, and then the social announcement that you have?
Sure. Yes, we had our food drive on Saturday at the King Soopers, and it was a smashing success. We collected so much food and non-perishables. My truck was completely full, and in addition, we collected $256, which, to put that in perspective, we normally collect about $60 to $70 per food drive. So we collected in one event what we normally collect in an entire year. I know. Well, yeah. And so thank you to Andres, especially. He brought his entire family and his kids, and I think they had a big impact on our food drive. So, yeah, and the shelves were empty. There was a lot of food drives going on Saturday. There were a bunch of kids there to help me unload the stuff, which was great. And before they unloaded all of our stuff and the others, the shelves were empty. So now they're full, or at least for a little while. So that was good. So, all right, so that's the food drive. And then the social activity I wanted to talk about is the Mizell Museum visit on November 17th, which is a Sunday, at 2 o'clock at 400 South Kearney Street. It's on the calendar, and you probably should sign up so that we know how many people to expect. And so she told me remember Penny Nissen was here during the summer, I think, and talked about the Mizell Museum and some of the activities that they do. And so anyway, I tried to reach her. I haven't talked to her since the summer, since we set this up. I tried to reach her. She's out of town until she's in Spain, and I'm going to be out of town, so this is my last chance to talk about this, but I don't actually have a whole lot of details about what's there. So I went on the website, and here's what it says about the Mizell Museum. Dynamic exhibits that illustrate relevant topics of cross-cultural understanding, human decency, and anti-Semitism through artistic expression. So there's various exhibits there. As a side note, I wanted to tell you that tonight, Mizell Museum is sponsoring a screening of the movie called, it's at the Alamo Drafthouse in Littleton, and the movie is called Prosecuting Evil. And it's about Ben Ferencz, who was the prosecutor of the Holocaust perpetrators at the Nuremberg trials. An amazing story. Karen Berry and Kathy Smith and I went and saw it. They had a screening this summer. We went and saw that. It's an amazing story. And then after the movie, they have a local Holocaust survivor come and talk. Turns out he's my neighbor, but anyway. So the event that we went to was sold out. I don't know if the event tonight is sold out or not, but if you're interested, you could call Mizell Museum and see if they have any tickets available.
Thank you, Karen. And appreciate that. And I know that we also had a social this past weekend, which apparently was freaking amazing. I had to bleep out what I was going to say. But Tripp, do you want to give us just a little rundown of what happened?
That's exactly what I would call it. Friggin' amazing. It was fun. Thanks for everybody that came. We ended up having 12 different chilies for our cook-off. 12 different. We had about 4 listed a week ago, and now we ended up at 12. So, and there wasn't a bad chili amongst them. I mean, honest to God, it was a super. Mine was borderline, but it was still okay. But thanks for everyone. There were a few items left behind. I left them up on that desk up there. If you left a jacket or sweater, if it was my size, I'd never seen it. But everything else is over there. Thanks again, everybody. Thank you. Great fun. Jackie Chaporas won the People's Choice, and Tim, his chili, won the first place in the overall judging, and they were both delicious. You guys remember Brad Ishroff from the Cakeheads? He presented to us. Mm-hmm. He and his wife, were chefs by education and business. His wife wasn't able to attend, but he was there. And then another couple that were, mostly friends of mine, but they were perfect judges, and it was really a good group. Yeah, they were my neighbors. So.
And clearly, Tripp's belly won.
And I'm assuming this is now an annual event, Trip.
I think so. It's really.
Because
Rick Cottrell offered to have a discount stick. Pretty good. Maybe I'm paraphrasing.
That might be a little paraphrase, but we'll look forward to wherever it is next year. We also have just a few more announcements, and then we'll get to Happy Bucks. Well, travel gifts and Happy Bucks. Yeah. Cheryl, do you want to talk for a little bit?
Thank you. John, can you set me up, please? Thank you very much. I so appreciate all your concern, your love, your support. You guys have been amazing. My trip had to be cut short, and you'll find out here in a minute why. But I left October 13th and was delayed every single flight, going and coming back. And I'm convinced 747s have mechanical failures. Anyway, I went representing the club, Centennial Club of the Rotary Centennial Club. I went for two purposes. One was to build a playground, which did not occur, and you'll find out why here in a minute. And my second was to meet other Rotary clubs that we might be able to partner with in the future. And I was going with Kids Around the World with a team of 24 to build a playground at an orphanage where I had lived as a child for 2 years with my parents. And so I landed in Beirut, Lebanon, not really fully aware of the unrest, although I had heard a little bit about it. I knew about it last year, but I didn't know how badly the unrest was. Beirut is 34 square miles, so take the size of Centennial and downtown Littleton, and that is the size of Beirut with 3.17 million people living there. There are 6 million people living in the country, and those 6 million, 1/3 of those are Syrian refugees that have fled their lives from Syria and the unrest and the war that's going on in Syria. So you would think that a big city like this would not have many problems, but they certainly do. You see water trucks everywhere delivering potable water to your apartment, to your hotel. The infrastructure is crumbling, namely because of the government. 1% of the population owns 25% of the country's wealth. And so this is just Beirut itself. They have serious pollution problems. They have cut back on all their medical services. There's no longer Social Security for employees. And electricity is a huge problem. So I went early for the purpose of going to 2 Rotary clubs while I was there. The first one was called the Rotary Club Cosmopolitan, and they were very, very welcoming, very, very warm. They do 5 Rotary grants, international Rotary global grants a year. And they're wanting to partner with us in the future. And so here I am with the president. We're exchanging banners. They allowed me to speak for 5 minutes about our club and the playground project. And they're, frankly, the elite of the elite. They represent they're very wealthy people in this club. But they're very, very gracious, very warm people. In fact, Lena, their past president, took me home, and she described to me a lot of the unrest that was going on. On my way to the Rotary Club, those were the fires that were raging up in the mountains. We believe that they were set by someone, 104 fires taking place. And so all this unrest continued to build up, and that was a Tuesday night. Thursday night, well, I hadn't gotten to Thursday night here, but just to give you an idea, we have all these problems here in California with the electricity, and they have rolling blackouts. They take 3 hours every day and take your electricity away. You could be in an elevator and the electricity goes off. I don't know how many times I stood in the elevator for about 2 minutes. You just shrug your shoulders, and then the power comes back on. When I had an inclination of problems, I was going to go to Zachli. And remember the Rotary Club where I had Tom? He was one of our guests come because his sister is a nun, and she's a headmaster of an elementary school in Zachli, which is 38 miles away from Beirut. and they are wanting to see if our Rotary Club and others might participate in bringing them a playground for their 400 Syrian refugee children in their school. This was a text message I received from her, and this was Friday morning, I apologize, Friday morning, when I got an inclination that something was actually wrong. The roads have been closed, and it was an unusual quiet in the streets. I didn't hear the merchandise trucks, I didn't hear any of the produce trucks, anything going beneath my balcony on the cobblestone road. It was just very quiet. And the men that would normally chat underneath my balcony weren't even there. So then I got on the phone with the partners that were supporting us in putting this playground built together, and we decided it was best for me to get out of Beirut because the roads were closing. I couldn't even get to the airport. What happened to bring everybody to the streets was the government was planning the 2020 census. They had already taxed people on bread, on wheat, and all kinds of other things. And then they decided they were going to have a 20-cent tax on WhatsApp, the first country in the world to have a tax on the use of WhatsApp. Every time you used your WhatsApp telephone or text messaging application for every single day. So people took to the streets. And they started burning tires. They decided to have road blockades everywhere and burn tires. And I did go through this the night that it started. I just passed through the square as people were coming in to the square, not realizing what really was actually happening at that point. And the whole country went crazy. And it was amazing how many people took to the streets. But my concern was sitting in a hotel for another week possibly and not knowing if my team of 24 was going to be able to make it. We decided it would be best for me to go up to the orphanage where the playground was to be built. And so that is my taxi cab ride there on the top left. I took everything in color, but everything came out in black and white because that's how badly the tire burning was and road blockades. And to go 6.8 miles took me 1.5 hours with nobody on the streets. And going down one-way streets the wrong way, I mean, you just, if you have ever seen the movie The Chase in French Connection and The Bourne Identity, that chase, that's what it was like, without anybody chasing you, okay? It was a white-knuckle trip. But this was just right outside the orphanage because people went up to the municipal governments and just started burning tires. Well, then they recognized that, burning tires caused 2 people to die, and if they wanted people to protest, they better lift the blockades and quit burning the tires. So that's what happened. Just to give you an idea, in Mansouriya, which is where the orphanage and the school is, that's the view you usually have on a clear day. That's what we had. This is on Saturday now. Fires are still going, burning tires are still going. The playground has been delivered. It's there, it's safe, it's secure, and I thought I might be able to do something, but then I found out my team was not going to be able to come. They turned most people back. 5 people made it out of the United States. 1 made it to Lebanon. Pablo made it to Lebanon, but he couldn't get out of the airport. He had to stay there for 48 hours, and they turned him home. And 2 made it to Qatar, and 5 made it to Vienna. And they decided it would be too unsafe to bring in a team of 24, especially with the roads being blocked on and off, on and off. So that is where the playground is to be built. And I did manage to put a wheelbarrow. The Kids Around the World sends 2 wheelbarrows. And I put one together because there was really no need for 2. And we kind of cleared the site in preparation for the wheelbarrow. Playground, I'm sorry. In preparation for the wheelbarrow is right. But the trip has been rescheduled now for May 15th to the 24th. And I plan on going back, Lord willing. Of course, we have to wait to see what the unrest in the political situation, if the unrest has calmed down and the political situation has somewhat corrected itself. Last Thursday, the Prime Minister resigned, as well as his cabinet, so there's a major void. There are 33 sects in the country, and everyone wants to be represented, and everybody wants to fill that void, and they all have their own solutions. So it's a real tense situation going on right now. The banks did reopen this last Friday, which meant that schools could resume. The biggest fear when the banks closed was whether or not the Prime Minister and all his cronies and the cabinet would have a run on the banks, take all their money, and flee the country. And that's why the airport road was closed. I could have gotten out if I had to. They would have taken me down to a taxi, and then I would have come to a burning tire blockade, and then on the other side, Enterprise at its zenith, I could have gotten on a moped and been taken to the airport. So, anyway, just to give you an idea, look at all those people. And the whole country was this way. The whole country was this way. They just came out in droves. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
And I do have a banner to present to the club. Yes.
Can we have or work with the local Rotaries to see if they can install the playground?
I had already scheduled 3 of them to come up. And so when I go back in May, we will be working with them.
I can only imagine the kids looking at that playground there on the ground and thinking, where's this thing going on?
Yeah. No, our goal is to have Rotarians there. I was not able to make contact with the second Rotary Club. They have a wonderful website. But when I got to Lebanon, I tried calling from the States. When I got to Lebanon, it rang to a porn site. And they never responded to any of my emails. But when I got to the orphanage, I found out a key leader within that Rotary Club, and so I'm going to be connecting with him. So.
Well, thank you. We have this Beirut picture. Great, thank you. Give that to John. He'll scan that in for us. Well, I know we were all concerned when Mark gave us the update, so we're glad that you're safe and that it's been rescheduled, and hopefully we can even make it a better project for May. Now, we still have a few announcements, and then we have travel gifts and Happy Bucks. This is just a reminder, starting next week, I will have a sign up for the Holiday Hooray, which is December 19th, which is a Thursday. We are having it at Heritage Eagle Bend. The cost is $35 per person. This is our holiday party. So if you don't sign up and you don't go, you don't get to celebrate the holidays with us. So we'll just, yeah. So there you go. So there you go. So that's it. So that's our announcement. I'll have sign-up sheets starting next week. And then we have John McCarty. Do you want to talk a little bit about the Rotary Foundation, International Foundation?
I do, and it seems like no matter where you stand in this room, somebody can't see you.
Yes.
No, I'm just going to keep going around the pole. You don't want to see that. The month of November is Rotary Foundation Month, and so each week when we meet, I'm going to tell you a little bit about Rotary Foundation. This week, what I want to tell you is that the Rotary International Foundation is different from the Centennial Rotary Foundation. A lot of our fundraising projects that we do, most of them, the money goes to our own Centennial Rotary Foundation. But almost all of our members, with their quarterly dues, contribute as Paul Harris sustaining members. You contribute $25 a quarter, $100 a year, and that money goes to the Rotary International Foundation. The Rotary International Foundation takes that money, keeps it for 3 years, and I'm cutting through a lot of details here, and essentially uses the earnings on that money during that 3 years to fund the administration of Rotary International Foundation. And then the money is available on a formula to clubs through international grants, which is what Mark and John did for Water Rico. How much did you receive in International Foundation grant?
About $25,000 from the foundation. So.
$25,000, and there was matching money that went along with that. There also is available district-designated funds, and that's money that comes back to the district, and we have made use of district-designated funds as well. So as we go forward over the next 2 or 3 weeks in November, I'll tell you a little bit more about Rotary International Foundation.
Okay, great. Do we have any travel gifts? Karen? Oh, okay. Sorry.
That's all right.
Ken has an announcement.
On the agenda, so sorry. We're having a Christmas tree giveaway committee meeting following our meeting today. Just a reminder, our event is December 7th. We'll be putting together the packages for the gifts. And Sunday the 8th, we'll be giving the Christmas trees away. I will have a sign-up sheet next week for those 2 events. As of right now, things are falling into place, and hopefully we're going to have another successful event. So we do have a meeting afterwards today.
Okay. And I guess, Diana, you have a quick announcement. Notice I had 3 things on my agenda when I walked into the
So what I remembered is that it's better for her if we tell her up front, which I did not do. So Santa Claus, December 11th. It's a project for our visitors here where we do a surprise shopping spree for children who are in a disadvantaged situation. We have a significant amount of funds that we put aside for this particular project. There are 5 or 6 people working on this project from various clubs because we all come together. Catherine made eye contact with me, so now she's getting sucked in as well. So what's really important, you guys, is over the next week, we'll be figuring out exactly how many kids are coming from where. And next week, I will have sign-up sheets again. Many of you signed up. But guys, we have a lot of kids. We need way more volunteers. It happens in the morning, Wednesday the 11th. As you guys know, the Rotarians help these children go shopping and help them pick out clothes, and it's quite an experience. It's a really great project. So next week, I'll have numbers, but I'm here to tell you, don't let Highlands Ranch Rotary have more volunteers than us. So.
Thanks, Diane. Okay, any more business announcements before travel gifts? Okay, Karen, you have a travel gift.
Okay, so a couple of weeks ago, I went on my annual Girls Weekend with some ladies that I worked with over 30 years ago in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. One of them retired from General Motors in Detroit and moved to North Carolina, so we went to her house this year. And on the way there, I had a layover at the Nashville airport, and I picked up some Appalachian apple pie moonshine. So it sounds really good. And the added bonus is it's the official moonshine of NASCAR. So, yeah. So that should be really good. While we were there, we were staying in Brevard, which is near Asheville, and we went to the Biltmore Estates, which is fabulous. If you've ever been in the area, you should go there. And I picked up there some wassail spice blend and some red wine to make a really good toddy for Christmas time. It's the Cardinal Crest Biltmore wine. So they go together, and it's really good because we tried some out. So enjoy.
Was that moonshine legal for you to bring her official bootleg?
No, it was. I bought it at the airport, and she wrapped it up in this package with an official seal. She said, you can't open it until you get to your final destination. I mean, it was all official, and then I put it in my checked bag coming home. So
I'll take care of that.
That's fine.
Ken?
We took a trip to Oregon. I thought I went a long way. I did 3,700 miles in my Winnebago, and then John Peterson said he went 6,100 in his. So anyway, we went to Idaho and Oregon and Washington and down the coast, and to make sure that I complied with the unwritten rule that we were drinking and sampling beer and wine, I have lots of coasters. And this is a pair of underwear, and it's made out of cloth. And apparently put it in water, and it basically turns into a full-size pair of men's underwear. They do have ladies, but I knew that if I bought it, it'd be the wrong size. So we do. Don't we always have that problem wrong side? And then went to some wineries. There was one we went to Yakima and Walla Walla, and there's just a whole bunch of wineries up there. This is it's a red wine from Walla Walla, or Yakima, excuse me. And then, it doesn't happen very often, but sometimes I see a travel gift that just really identifies with one of our members.
And the underwear didn't?
Well, I think I'll pass on that, all right? And so we were in Ashland, Oregon, and we went to a winery, and they do about 100,000 cases, and they don't distribute anywhere else. So I can't get this at Davidson or anyplace else, but the name of this winery is Roxy Ann Winery. And we were drinking, and they don't have glassware. They don't sell glassware, so I had to give my server one hell of a tip. And so I do have 2 wine glasses that have the Roxy Ann Winery on them. And so I had told Roxy, without identifying this, and I'm expecting a big, big bid come Christmas time.
All right, do we have any other travel gifts? John?
So to go along with Ken, I'm back again. When you travel in a motorhome and it's only 25 feet long, you store things and hide things all over the place, and I'm still finding things. So the 2 things that are still to come, the first is from Prince Edward Island, a box of their world-famous preserves. And then when I was at Ben & Jerry's, I bought, on behalf of John McCarty, some coasters, and I'll be damned if I can find them.
Any other travel gifts, Deb?
I have a travel gift from past summer, and I keep forgetting to bring it, so I'm just going to tell you about it, and it'll show up someday. I went back to Wisconsin, where I went to college, And it was Ripon College and then Green Lake. And in Green Lake is where I helped organize our sorority reunion. So Green Lake is the deepest lake in Wisconsin. And my parents built a house out there, and so I was real familiar with the area. So one time when we were going down and getting on a pontoon boat, I've got this great bag, and it still is at home. And it says Green Lake, Wisconsin, and I'm going to put a loaf of bread in there and some wine, because of course there's a winery in Ripon that we just had to go visit, and some cheese will be in there. So that's coming. I didn't think you wanted me to put the bread in there in the summertime and wait for either November or December. So hence I have not brought it in yet.
Any other travel gifts? We good? All right, so let's do an expedited Happy Bucks because we are running way over. We have classification talks today. So we have two, one from Rob Johnson, one from Deb. So let's just make this really quick.
Okay, Happy Bucks. Lori?
Yeah. I have a happy 5 for my guest joining us, and just glad to be here.
I just have a happy buck for the chili cook-off. It was really great. Thanks, Trip.
Phil, Trip.
I have a happy buck. I want to make sure all of our visitors know that all these events that are coming up, please put them in your calendar. We'd sure love to count on you to be there. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
I have 5. I was not here when I heard about Tom Buck's resignation. And as we all know, he was our 4th president. He was a charter member. And I think he eats and breathes Rotary, and he's a fabric of this club. So I don't think his resignation should be forgotten. He's one hell of a guy. He had some health issues. Never told anybody about it. He's probably mad that I'm saying anything about it today. But he will be missed.
Mark?
Wasn't it true that the State of the City started under his year? Yeah. This is for the great chili cook-off that Tripp put on in the new incoming board.
Brad?
I have 10 happy bucks. First and foremost is for a wonderful card that you guys sent me and signed. I really appreciated that. Thank you. So I just want to give you a quick update. You know, baby is a little over 7 weeks old now. He had his first smile on Saturday, so if you want to see it, it's on my phone. So he is doing great. His parents are starting to do better now that we're getting a little bit more sleep. But yeah, things are awesome there. I don't know how often I'll be visiting Rotary going forward. Just my life is so different right now. With the baby, I started a new company, and so I'm just real spread thin right now. So I'll check in from time to time, but I have no idea if I'll be here a lot or a little or whatever. So, but know that any of you can invite me out for coffee or lunch anytime.
Tom?
We okay?
Just for the chili cook-off, and I'm glad to report my body finally feels better again from eating that chili.
I'm out for the rest of the month. Everybody have a good Thanksgiving.
John Barry?
One for the chili cook-off. It was nice to keep everyone warm under the sheets after that.
Doug?
$1. I'm just happy to be here.
Scott?
I've got a happy 2. One for the Public Image Committee. We had a great press release in the Centennial Citizen, so keep your eyes open for more of that. And then 2, I was unable to make the chili cook-off because my wife and I were moving into our new house this weekend. Tom Gross helped us find an awesome home, and we're very, very happy to be out of the apartment.
John?
Just a couple. One for the chili cook-off. Great job. That was a lot of fun. And another one to whoever's been signing people up while I've been gone. My wife's mom has been ill. She was over in France for a month, and so I was on home duty. And somebody else signed up folks for duty, so I appreciate that.
Karen?
I have 10, so I want some change from that. 5 for all of the volunteers that helped with the food drive on Saturday. Our final food drive of the year was very successful, and thank you all for your time. And 5, because the polio virus type 3 has been eradicated, which was huge. So.
You 20, I gave you 10 back. Is that what you wanted? Because I'll take the other 10. Okay, Cheryl.
I have 3. The first one is to say thank you for all your prayers, your concern, and your support. That was just wonderful. And my second $1 is for Tripp and his wife Sherry for the hosting the chili cook-off. And the third one is to Tim Eunice, who made me 5 signs that was for my neighborhood food drive, which was on Saturday. I collected 1,720 pounds of food from 97 families, and that was given to Integrative Family Community Services on yesterday.
What I want to know is why Sherry isn't a member instead of Tripp. Gordon?
I have a happy buck. I have to stand up and do this one. The happy part is that I get my stitches out right after this meeting. And I've had people ask, what the heck happened to you? Were you in a boxing match and did somebody bite your ear and so on? But in my circles of musicians, I am known, people listen to, well, I'm called the Van Gogh with a guitar, okay? And people listen to me play and they say, oh my God, he's lost his ear. So I had it sewn back on. So, no, but actually, it's a Johnny Carcinoma thing that I had taken care of. Where did you?
Ann.
Well, first off, I am so surprised that nobody said something about the Broncos. And that's for that. And the. Pardon? We're still in shock. Well, we're still cheering, too. It could happen. I mean, I talked to my husband. I said, we still could get to the playoffs. I mean, I thought he was an optimist, but he said no. And I have another $1, and I forgot why, but here you go.
Thanks. I have two. First for Trip and Cherry, of course. And second, congrats to Brad.
Quick $1 for Trip and Sherry. That was an awesome day.
Thank you.
I've got 4. One is a thank you to Ann West for organizing the Fairmont Cemetery tour. We had a great time for those of us that went. It was really fun. The second is I missed the chili cook-off because I was at a CASA State Conference all day on Saturday, which goes towards my continuing education. But the interesting thing was the keynote speaker, who was Lori Poland. You probably don't know her name, but you might remember the incident. She was abducted at the age of 3 and then put down a outhouse and was found in, I think, 1983 or something. She was the keynote speaker. She mentioned Rotary in her keynote speech. And one of the breakout sessions that I went to on a company called Foster Source, they also mentioned Rotary. So Rotary's kind of out there. The third one is for my son, Jared. He's headed to Phoenix today. He's getting hired by Mesa Airlines. They'll give him $10,000 so he can get his multi-engine rating. And then once he gets his 1,500 hours, he will start flying airplanes for Mesa Airlines. And last but not least, of course, I can't go by without mentioning the NASCAR playoffs. Not this Sunday, but the last Sunday. My driver, Martin Truex Jr., won the race, which puts him into the finals, which is in 2 weeks in Homestead, Miami. So go MTJ.
Diane.
Okay, super quick. Number 1, so glad to have visitors, and you would have fun with our club. And number 2, thank you to everybody who's pitching in and doing such a great job with all these projects. There's so much going on, and it would never happen without everybody. Number 3, I'm so grateful my 18-year-old son is realizing that he has to be independent. And number 4, super glad for my daughter's volleyball tournaments and teams. They did really well this year. And number 5, I'm just grateful to be part of this great club.
Our guest.
Oh, yes. I just want to say, no. An old change, like on top?
So I give you 5, you give me 20? Perfect, I'll take it.
That's how it goes. No, you're fine. Thank you for having me. Yeah, thank you.
That's awesome.
Greg.
Greg, everybody.
Just hey. It's Thanksgiving. Just $1 for Tripp's wonderful chili cookout, but I had no idea of the surprise musical tuba concert that followed.
Randy.
Tuba concert? I have 2. One is for our guests. We are really a depressing club. It gets better. It gets better. The other one is for our chat group last week. We had 5 members show up, of which 2 are not here today. I'm a little concerned. It was a driving snowstorm. I'm not sure they're not still stranded somewhere. But I really appreciate you all making an effort to come out.
Andres.
I have 5 as well. One is for our guests. It's nice to have you with us. The second one is for Karen and the food drive on Saturday. It was a lot of fun. My kid loved it. I think it helped a little bit that they were there saying, "Can you please help me, senor? We're hungry." And so that helped a little bit. Also, the college basketball season is starting. So go Duke. And I'm glad it's Tuesday and I'm at Rotary.
Catherine.
So the bonus of your husband going to a foreign country is that he cleans out all his American cash out of his wallet. So winning. So $5. First of all, Angela, as I ran out, I heard an accent that I have come to fall in love with. My husband is first generation Ukrainian. So shameless plug for our club is that you would have a member here who speaks fluent Russian. And it is my favorite party trick to make him speak it. So be here next week. He will be back and you will have a person that speaks your home language. Also, a huge prayer and joy book. As you all have followed my mother, she goes in today for surgery. So shameless ask, she will be in rehab to recover and then hopefully home. So if you have time to talk to her or call her or whatever, she would love that. Third, It's been a fun family week. My stepdaughters, I learned, are passionate Nats fan, and so I rode that roller coaster for 7 games. And the newest addition coming Sunday, because of my stepdaughters and my passion for dogs, is that we are getting a new puppy. Her name is Murphy Robin. We named her Murphy from a book that the girls recommended, but just about the time that we thought we had Murphy, my youngest said, "Hey, can we name her Robin?" And so now we're Murphy Robin. So welcoming our new puppy to the Hoffs.
Tim.
Okay, I have 4. One is for Trip for putting together that great chili cook-off. The other one is for Sherry, because I know she did all the work. All right. The third is for Cheryl Sartain's safe return.
Yeah.
And the fourth is for the great job she did. I mean, after all that ordeal, she goes and puts on a food drive.
Yeah.
So thank you.
I've got $5. I was not at the chili cook-off because I was very busy at a fundraiser, and lo and behold, I won the reverse raffle and ended up with a check for $5,000.
So you have 5,000 happy bucks?
That's 5 for each 1,000.
Roxanna.
This better not be a trend. All I can say. I have 3 happy bucks. One is for the Broncos. One is for Colorado State. Won a game as well. And the last one is when you're trying to figure out when things are happening, be sure and check the website, because we do in our calendar. Usually, if at all possible, we have the address and we have a contact person. So if you're trying to go to one of our activities, check the website.
Thank you, Roxy. John. I didn't see that. Tucked away in your hand there.
Just 5 for, this is wonderful stuff to hear every week. Thank you.
Madam President.
Okay, well, Ann?
I remembered what it was. I'm laying around at home and I'm looking on Netflix and Amazon. I can't remember which one it was, but you have both, you'll find it. A tale about Bill Gates. And the first one you can ignore, it's about toilets. Second section is about getting rid of polio. And he worked so hard. I wasn't aware how much he did versus what we did. So if you're into getting rid of polio in the world, look it up.
Okay, so I'm going to make an announcement right now, since we will not be able to do classification talks. We have 6 minutes. So do you have, Rob, do you have 6 minutes or less by chance? Okay, so you can go. Deb, what we'll do is next week.
I'm not even in the program. So
No, I know. That's part of the reason why. Okay, cool. So let's do a truncated Rob Johnston classification talk.
Just real quickly, whoever has the card to Dave Walcher, tell him I got an all-time new high without a gun.
I will make this quick. I didn't have a long presentation anyway, so thank you very much. I'm Rob, it's great. And so I was going to tell you a little bit about me. Oh, great, thank you. I will talk too loudly. I was born in Orange, California. I'm a Californian, but I came here not directly from California, so I'm not one of the problems here, I guess. A family of my mom and dad, and I have 2 siblings. I'm in the middle there, so as you can see. A couple of things about me. I don't know how many of you remember Art Linklater's house party, but for some reason I got selected to go when I was in 2nd grade. I don't know why, because I made 5 unplanned trips to the principal's office that year, but nevertheless I got to be on that, and that was kind of fun. I got to meet Red Skelton at that time, because he had adjoining his area was right next to that. I'm a big Angels fan, back when they were called the California Angels, and then just a little bit of a beach scene, because we used to hang out at the beach and do a lot of body surfing and such. So, real quickly, these are some of the places that I've lived. I was kind of sort of had a gypsy existence after I got into high school. Lived in Portland, Oregon. After I went to the University of Oregon, I'll go over that in a minute, and then I joined the service. And through the service, I was fortunate to live in a lot of different places. I lived in the Philippines for about a year, lived in Yokosuka, Japan for about 2 years, and I was stationed on a ship called the USS Oldendorf, which is now a reef near at the bottom of the ocean in Hawaii area, but that's what they do with a lot of old ships. And I lived in Chicago for a while, and then my last area before I moved back to Denver, I lived in Shanghai, China, which is a wonderful experience there. So that's a little bit about my gypsy background here. So I've been a Denver resident mostly since 1991. Had a couple of jaunts between that. Married, 4 children. Troy is 30 35, sorry, lives in Long Beach and just recently engaged. Lauren is in San Diego, and she played professional soccer in Europe. Got a chance to play for some teams in Denmark, Finland, and Norway, so it's very interesting. She lived in an area called Tromsø, which is above the Arctic Circle, so a lot of sunshine in the summer, but none in the winter, so that was kind of interesting. Catherine, and she and her husband lived in Seattle, and then Nick, who lives here in Denver, and he is a massage therapist, so if anyone's interested in, just let me know. Undergraduate degree in marketing from the University of Oregon. Go Ducks. They're ranked currently 7th in the poll. Had they not lost to Auburn in their first game, they might be in a contender for the championship. A graduate degree in finance from the University of Notre Dame, and if we have any Michigan fans here, okay, we got blown out 2 weeks ago, just completely killed. So. I was a naval officer, as I mentioned, I was in active duty for 4 years and 4 years in the reserves. And Diana, we got a chance to talk to your husband, who's been 30 years, and thank you again for his service. That was a lot of fun. Saw a lot of the world there, a lot of the ocean. 1 year, I did a deployment of 50,000 miles on a ship. So thanks to Ronald Reagan, our president at that time, a lot of gas. We were able to go around, unlike the chili cook-off. And then I currently work for Honeywell Process Solutions. I'm in the software side of the business, and our office is in Centennial, really close to here. Previously, I worked for Whirlpool Corporation for 10 years, and that brought me to China. John Smanville here in downtown Denver. You guys probably know those. And then Autodesk, which is a CAD company. I've been 4 years in Rotary, including my tenure here. Prior to this, I was with the Evergreen Rotary Club, and I think I've talked to you guys about that. I was involved mostly with international service with that. Mark and I are going to have a chat about that and see about some areas where we might be able to help the club. I am actually a third-generation Rotarian. My grandfather was a charter member of the Wilmette, Illinois Club, 1918. So there's a chance he may have met Paul Harris. I have no idea, but he's not around, so I can ask him that. And then my father was a Rotarian in Southern California. So this is not new to me, but the cool thing about Rotary now is back then it was all men, right, and was not integrated, and it's a wonderful thing. I'm glad that was changed. So I understand, I think from our profile, we were about 40 to 45% women, and is that something around that area?
And this year, the leadership, club leadership, presidents are 26% women.
That's awesome. That's just great, yeah. All right. Yay. Okay, real briefly, these are just, sorry, let me get here. Some of my interests, spending time with my family. We're really close family. Enjoy that. Rotary, obviously. I have a passion for Rotary. I'm really excited about my opportunity here and getting more involved in the club. Home brewing, and I had the opportunity to bring some beers to the wonderful chili cook-off. Thanks, Trip. And so if anyone's interested in some of my home brews, I'd be happy to share them with you. Travel, cooking, and the outdoors. And just to kind of wrap up, kind of one of my heroes in Rotary, from Paul Harris. You can read this quote, but this is my thought for the day. I know it's a little bit different than what we have in our bulletin, but I think this is just a wonderful thing here that we have the opportunity to have some inspiration for a person who founded our organization and has meant a lot to all of us here. So that's me in a nutshell.
Well, surprisingly, that was perfect timing. So, but Deb won't get out of a classification talk. We will. We will have you. So,
Sit down.
yeah, we have the marble, blue marble, whatever that is. You want to draw the...
Mine just is over here. Over here.
The way it's on camera. It's legal, yeah.
Right. Last numbers.
775.
Oh.
That's not fair. It's not fair.
I swear it wasn't Rick. I swear.
Good job, Trip.
Three-quarters lunch money. Bag. Oh, the bag's over there, I think. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Rob, and Trip, and John. So, you please rise for all the things we think, say, and do. Speak the truth. We're all concerned.